Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Over and over again, we've explored the bizarre similarities between all of our experience with the narc, how they all seem to be working from the same playbook, all linked by the same common thread somehow. And it doesn't matter if the relationship was homosexual, heterosexual, interracial, black, white, it just doesn't matter. What language is coming out of their mouth, the crap is always the same. And I want to talk about that today because I am wondering if you guys shared this similarity. Well, communicating this morning with our dear friend Deb J. Mwah, love you, Deb. She told a little story about how she had a recent brief interaction with her ex-narc and how the narc immediately went to calling her bipolar. Now, this really made me laugh because, of course, Deb J is one of the sanest people I've ever met. And it just brought up this wave of memories of daily being told how crazy I was, how bipolar I was, how I needed bipolar medication because I was bipolar. And I'm just wondering, if anyone else has experienced that. And the anomaly of it is, of course, Trevor had been in and out of psychiatry since he was 13 years old, and many times have been put on mood altering, antidepressant type, antipsychotic type medications. Now, in his house of pain, in the kitchen cupboard, the top shelf was just full of these medications. Now, I had never been, involved in psychiatry. I've never been party to any type of mental health therapy or treatment. I have never been diagnosed with a mental health condition, nor have I ever been put on any types of medications. And I just see a real sort of irony in this where evidence just seems to breeze right over them. Like there's the guy with the shelf full of mental health medication telling a person who has never been prescribed mental health medication just how crazy and bipolar they are. There's really something very funny about it, how they just seem to miss the evidence, like their own evidence. The name on the bottles of prescriptions were his. I mean, there they were, this whole shelf full of them, and, had been together 5 years. Never once did he see any evidence at all that I had been prescribed any medication. But of course, I was the one that was bipolar. Oh God, if I had a dime for every time I was called bipolar. Now, what would lead the lunatic to tell me I was bipolar? Questioning his behavior. The mask would be slipping and I'd be seeing behind it and I'd be saying, dude, something's not right here. Well, that's because you're bipolar. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. He would commit some bizarre act, some act of utter insanity, and I'd say, whoa, what's going on here? You're bipolar. I mean, it's unbelievable how they can so shamelessly just breeze right past their own behavior, don't take a second to stop and look at their behavior, just go straight into, you're nuts, you need medication, bipolar, bipolar, bipolar. And I know most certainly if you're still with the narc, and likely you're in a horrible situation. Trust me, I know that. If you've recently gotten free, you're very likely still feeling an attachment, a soul tie, and absolutely wallowing in misery, heartbreak, confusion, disorientation, stunned, absolutely rocked to your core by the behavior. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And in my case, most certainly, the farther I've moved away from the abuse, the farther I've moved away from Trevor's house of pain, the more faded and diminished the memory of Trevor becomes, the funnier it seems. And there really is some humor here because if you were watching this, on Saturday Night Live, where there was a truly deranged individual with a kitchen cupboard full of antipsychotic medication calling typically well-adjusted, sane person that absolutely does not have a history of mental illness, acting out, criminal behavior, none of it, calling them relentlessly insane and bipolar, it would make a pretty funny skit. But this has become our lives. This is what we've been forced to live with. A really bad Saturday Night Live skit. They have this really fluid, really natural ability to just take everything that's wrong with them and project it onto us. And yes, they know. Of course they know. They know they're creeps. They know they're nuts. They know they're disgusting. They know they're actively plotting an agenda of harm against the very people that love them the most in the world. They know exactly what they are. They know exactly what they're doing. It's calculated, it's methodical, it's well planned out. And yes, for those of you who have said, he hurt me or she hurt me the worst when I was down, I experience that all the time. It's almost like they plot this crap. Wait till your mother gets ill or your dog dies or you lose your job to launch this bullshit on you. It's very, very well calculated. They know exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, they sit there with that smug, narc smirk on their face, just wallowing in their insanity and flinging it all on us. They're liars. They call us liars and untrustworthy. They're nuts as fucking June bugs. Yet they're calling us crazy, needing medication, bipolar, insane, out of our freaking minds. They're liars, thieves, and cheats. And the more they cheat, the more they'll accuse you of infidelity. It's really almost funny as time passes, and nowhere near as painful as it used to be. In fact, not painful at all. I mean, I'm to a point now, a year out, looking very realistically at what the hell was happening there, and it's just comedy. I mean, it's low-grade, bad skits off Saturday Night Live. Of course, if you're still in it or you're just recently out, you're probably doing what I did and what so many others have done. Questioning, doubting, oh my God, was it me? Could I have handled that differently? Was I really as honest as I believed I was? I mean, after somebody's called you a liar, a liar, a liar 1,000 times, and all you've done is tried to be honest, I mean, it just leaves your head reeling. The reality is, it's not us. We're not crazy. We're not bipolar. We don't need medication. Now, in the event that this abuse, because it can actually cause a brain injury, that's the truth. That's a clinically proven fact. So if you have ended up on an antidepressant or antipsychotic medication, this too is not your fault. You are absolutely pushed, pulled, prodded, driven to a point of madness. And if you have been diagnosed now with depression, which happens quite frequently amongst victims, this too will remedy itself in time as you come to understand that none of this is your fault. You were targeted in a very calculated, methodical way. You were trapped, victimized, the victim of romance fraud by someone who had mirrored you and created a fake person. The person isn't even real. Meanwhile, this non-real, mask-wearing meat suit packed full of demons has the audacity to call genuine, authentic human beings bipolar. Certainly no disrespect intended for those who do suffer from the bipolar condition, but I think this name-calling, this accusing of insanity is just so typical of these things. They know full well what they are, and their inability to accept any responsibility is all telling in the name-calling. Guys, we're not nuts, and we're going to be okay. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.